Muy buenos días a todas las personas que están conectadas en este momento. Mi nombre es Camila Flores, hago parte del equipo de Consejería Académica y Relaciones Internacionales y hoy estoy muy feliz de contarles que estaremos realizando un webinar con 6 universidades del Reino Unido con las cuales tenemos convenio. Antes de comenzar, quería comentarles para las personas que quizás no han recibido la información para postularse a la convocatoria del programa Crédito Beca de Colfuturo no es necesario que tengan ni la carta de admisión por parte de la universidad ni el certificado de idioma. Esto lo podrán demostrar luego de ser seleccionados. Recuerden que cualquier pregunta que tengan la pueden realizar en el chat que encuentran en la parte inferior de sus pantallas y estas serán respondidas al finalizar la sesión. Thank you all for being here, and Luis, you can now start the presentation.
Of course. Well, hello everyone in lovely Colombia. Thank you for having us today. This is the second presentation as a group, and we're super happy. We're sad we're not there with you guys, and we miss everything about Colombia. I miss arepas and the bandeja paisa and everything that you have to offer. So please remember us when you're the next arepa, the next bandeja paisa you're having, because we miss that a lot. So as mentioned before, we're 6 universities. We have Sandra, Joe, Emma, Lorna, Luis, and Jenny, and Rachel should be here as well, and she works with Lorna now. And we're going to be introducing, and talking to you what is and how is to study in the UK. So the sections these are the sections we're going to be covering. Obviously, we will try to be as concise and quick as we can, but we love talking, and we love talking to students. So I apologize in advance if we take a little bit longer than we should. So the first one, I believe, is Lorna, with factors to consider when choosing a university. Lorna, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Luis. Hi, everyone. It's lovely to see you virtually. As Luis said, we wish we were there in person. But I'm going to kick off with a more general idea of what you might want to consider when you're starting to choose universities and which areas that you might want to start concentrating on while you're choosing your courses. So first off, which course is right for you? So in the UK, I mean, the amount of choice that you have in the names of courses is massive. So what I've done on this slide, I picked out all of the courses, and this is just from the University of Warwick. If we tried to do it from all 6 of our universities, we would not fit it on one page. To say all of the courses that are similar and related to business or management. So it happens a lot on a stand. We get asked about, oh, we want to do management, we want to do an MBA. And this just, I think, brings it home about how much variety there is to study a course within a particular area. So here we've got 24 different courses from 5 different departments that all have a focus in some respects on business or management, as well as then other departments that look after trade or commercial agreements and things like that. So first of all, really do your research and learn all about those different areas and the different courses, because even though you might think, yes, I want to do a management course, you might not have realised that all this wealth of other courses around that might be really beneficial and more suited to what you're looking for. Thanks, Luis. Next slide, please. So other things that you can think about when you are choosing your course, you can have a look at things like rankings. There are lots of different rankings in the world. There are subject rankings, there are university rankings. They will focus on different things. Some rankings will look at how international a university is, others might look at employability or research. So there are lots and lots of different factors that you might want to look at. But then you can also start looking at the course in more detail. So once you've started understanding to say, yes, okay, I want to study international relations, for example, and then what we offer at Warwick might be a very different course to what's offered at Nottingham or Glasgow or any of these other universities. So by going into more detail and understanding what the course has, we have things like core modules, which are ones that you absolutely have to take. But then you have the optional modules where you can choose, and that really allows you to personalize your degree a little bit more. And the pictures I've put at the bottom show all of the different modules that you can choose from for our international relations degrees. So again, it makes you realize just how personal you can make your degree and really find the one that's best suited for you. Thanks, Luis. Next slide. So once you've decided which area you want to study in, and you've started researching universities, the next thing you might want to look at is actually, do I meet the requirements for those courses? And again, they might vary a lot between different courses. So, you know, universities might have different equivalencies as to what you need to get into, but different courses within different universities as well. So for example, I've taken 2 different courses at the university. In politics, we're more general in what we accept. You know, it just has to be a degree, but your motivational letter and your personal statement is where you can say, this is why I want to study this particular course. And you can come from other departments, but as long as you can justify why you want to study politics, that's fine. Whereas if you look for economics, they have to see that you've got that background of econometrics, macroeconomics, microeconomics, and they will look at your transcripts to make sure that you've got those specific requirements. So it's always really important for you to read that fine print underneath the typical offer requirements to make sure that you meet any conditions that we're asking for. Thanks, Lewis. Next slide. So I've mentioned that different universities might have different classifications, and in the UK you might not be aware of it, but instead of using a GPA or a percentage, we have a grading scale where we say a first class, a 2-1, a 2-2. So generally first class is excellent, 2-1 can be classed as very good, 2-2 is good. And we've put here some of the equivalencies from a typical Colombian degree scores that we might ask for from different universities, but always check on each of our universities what the requirement is, because again, one university might say it's a 4.5 and another university might say it's a score of 4 for the same equivalency. So do make sure that you do your homework. Thanks, Louise. Next slide. And finally from me, the other thing that we look for, so when you're choosing your university, obviously your score and your personal statement is really important, but then you've got your English language requirements. And each university, again, might have different requirements of what we need for each of the courses. Certainly, you might find that if you're going for a course that's perhaps a bit more scientific, like mathematics or something, they might ask for a slightly lower requirement of English language than if you were going for law or management or something that requires a lot more essay-based subjects. But each university will very clearly give you the idea of what the equivalencies are for those English courses. When you apply to university, you don't have to have that English test. You can take it throughout the application process. But different universities also, some might allow some of these courses and others might not allow certain courses. So it's always good for you to do your research, because if you're applying to 2 or 3 courses, you don't want to suddenly realise that you've taken a TOEFL course, but you have to take an IELTS as well if all universities don't accept them. So it really is important to do your research at that early level and make sure that you're making it as easy as possible to meet all of those requirements. Thanks, Louise.
Okay, it's over to me now. So hi everyone, my name's Jo Power. I'm from the University of Glasgow and I'm the International Recruitment Manager that looks after Latin America. I'm going to talk to you very quickly on some practical tips on how to make an application. Thanks, Louise. So usually when you're looking at applying for a postgraduate taught program or a master's program, you're going to do this via the university website. So we don't have any one system for all of our universities. You would apply separately to each university. And normally you're going to find a link to how to apply on the program page that you're interested in. That's certainly the case for Glasgow. So imagine you're interested in an MSc in economics, you will then just go to that program page and hopefully there'll be a how to apply button or apply now button on that page that you can use. So what you do then is just filling in an online application form, which is usually fairly straightforward, but you need to think about what you'll need to provide us with when you submit the application. So we do need to see some evidence of what you've already achieved in your bachelor's degree, for example. Now, some of you might not have finished your bachelor's degree when you're applying to your university. So you can apply before finishing the bachelor's degree, but we need to see your transcript that you have so far. And we also need to see that translated into English as well. So we need to see the original and the translation too. So you don't need to wait until you've got all your final results before applying to your university. That's the important thing to remember. And equally, if you don't have your English test yet, or if you don't have the result you want yet, you can still apply. And then what we would do is, if we want to make you an offer, we would make you what we call a conditional offer, which would be conditional on the final results of your degree or on your English test, for example. So don't let that hold you up. If you're waiting to get your final degree, or you're waiting to get a final English test, do go ahead and apply anyway. We've had a question already about what the application deadline is. We do tend to have deadlines quite late, so as late as maybe the end of June or July for most universities. I would recommend applying sooner than that if you possibly can, because it puts you in a better position for getting things like scholarships from universities, and also for applying for things like accommodation. So it just means that you're a little bit more organised and able to go to the next step once you've got your offer. So I think I've mentioned most of the documents that are required. We also do ask for references, and at least one of those normally should be an academic reference. Sometimes it could be a reference from your employer, but the requirement usually is that at minimum one should be academic. Some programs, not all programs necessarily, will ask for a personal statement. So this might be a statement or like a statement of purpose, which would be around 300 words, 500 words maximum, where you talk about your motivation for applying for the program. I can't speak for all universities, but the University of Glasgow, we don't always ask for this. But for some particular specific programs, we do ask for the personal statement. So that needs a bit of planning on your part. And I think what we like to see in that is why you're applying for the program, and what motivates you to go for this program, and how it might affect your future in terms of your career, for example. Then we ask for other little bits and pieces sometimes as well, like a scan of your passport photo page, which helps us to get ready for the later stages of the application process. I mentioned that it's good to apply early if you can, so do bear that in mind. Even though we do have quite a late deadline in the summer, try and apply as soon as you can. Different universities reply at different points, so usually what you'll find is you're applying for a program, you can expect to get a reply usually in 4 to 6 weeks. Right now at Glasgow, we're very busy with applications, so it's taking something more like 6 weeks for us, but for others they might be turning around applications even quicker. Some universities can turn them around in 2 weeks, as little as that. So I think 4 to 6 is a fairly good average at the moment. Now, for some programs as well that are particularly popular, you might find that you have to wait a bit longer. So we operate what we call a gathered field for some programs. So you might be waiting slightly longer than you would expect, the 4 to 6 weeks. That means that we are looking at applications in batches. So it might mean that you wait maybe a couple of months for a decision on certain popular programs. And equally, some of our popular programs might have an application fee as well, which might be something like £50 that you have to pay on application too. So you heard me earlier just mentioning the possibility of getting a conditional offer. So basically, when you get your decision from the university, there are usually 3 possibilities. The first is an unconditional offer. That would mean that we have everything we need from you, and we don't need to ask for anything further to confirm your offer. And that's what you need to progress to the stage of applying for a visa as well later down the line. So that's the offer that you want to have at least by the end of the year. Students who are applying now will often get a conditional offer, either because they haven't completed their bachelor's degree and we're waiting for the results of that, or we're waiting for a result of your English language test, as I mentioned earlier. And then, of course, the third possibility is a reject, which is obviously what we don't want to see. But you've got an idea of the kind of entry requirements we look for, and I think they're quite standard across the board for most of the universities here. So if you meet our entry requirements, then the chances are you will get an offer. Okay, hope that was useful for you. Thanks.
So this is my turn. I'm going to talk to you about why to choose the UK, and I'm going to share my experience as a Latino, as an international student in the UK, and why, after 19 years in the UK, which was my anniversary was last week, why I still absolutely love this country. And studying in the UK for me was an amazing experience. So to start with, You know, we are the university, the UK is super famous when it comes to education. We usually, before COVID ruined all of our life, we used to have about 500,000 students in the UK that give you a multicultural, a diverse, and a creative environment to be a student. When I was a student, for example, in my first year in my house, there was a Russian, a Japanese, a Nigerian, 3 English, and me, and it was amazing. Okay, that gives you so much network, and today with WhatsApp and everything else, it's an amazing opportunity. All universities here today have 100 plus nationalities in their campus, and that is an amazing opportunity. We have 36,000 degrees, almost 400 universities. So always, as they mentioned before, do your research, because you will find the perfect degree for you. Obviously, if you're here, you know the quality of the UK education. And one of the amazing things is almost all masters are only 1 year long. So they're they're very cost effective. The UK in general is extremely safe country, and universities have 24 security. Some of them have the score service after dark, and guns are illegal. Okay, so it's a very safe. And as a Latino, that always, for me was an amazing impression. And it's just, how kind of, and for my friends call me, if that's one of the things, then it's amazing to see is how safe the country is. However, all that said, for me, the amazing thing about studying the UK was how the UK sees Latin America and how they see Latin Americans in general. Every society, this is not a perfect society. However, with Latinos, ellos son clase y aparte. They had an amazing experience. If someone asked me, what do you enjoy more, your degree or the experience to live in the UK? And I would say, as much as I love my degree and I got good grades and a job I love, the experience to be in another country was amazing. And the fact that, even when I look at it, because I do, and in the moment I talk and the Spanish, the Latin accent comes out, immediately everything changes. It's like, where are you from? And they see, for them, Latin Americans, they really welcome the Latin American. In 19 years here, I always feel welcome. And one of the reasons is because for them, the Latino is song, is music, and is dance. So if you know how to dance salsa, making friends is going to be super easy. But the two things they absolutely love is food. So please learn how to cook, because I'm from Venezuela. So I used to, once a month, all my housemates used to beg me to do arepas and to teach them to do arepas. And it's an amazing way to do friends. And the other one is football. Okay, if you like football, in this country, football is not a sport, it's a religion. And it's amazing. And for those reasons, they know about the Latin American culture. They welcome the Latin American culture, and it's an amazing. Again, this is not a perfect society, but with us, they're absolutely amazing. And that's one of the reasons I love the most and why my experience was so fantastic. I can see now some pictures of when I was a student and I used to have hair back in the day, but I really had an amazing time. And I'm sure whatever university you choose today, you are going to be absolutely welcome. We want you to choose a university that you're going to be happy about, that you think this is your right university. We want you to be happy. And, society-wise and country-wise, this is an amazing study or country to come to study. Emma.
Thank you, Luis. As Luis has just said, we love to hear about Luis's experiences in the UK. He's still here. He loved it so much. And as Luis said, all universities, want their students to have a similar experience, a positive experience. So if we move on to the next slide, please, Luis. I want to talk to you a bit about the student support that's available in the UK at universities, especially now. As we're all aware, student experience has been a bit different, let's say, during the pandemic, but universities have been working really hard to ensure that students, those that are on campus, are provided with the support, extra support, in fact, that they might need. But all year round, universities have different teams in place to support students. We take students' well-being very seriously. And there are teams here to support you before you arrive. That's exactly what we're here for. But there are teams to help with visa guidance, for example, welcome weeks when you arrive. And there are different teams in faculties. So if you have questions about your specific subject area, for example, or modules or timetable, they're the people to speak to. And there are also mentors, and many of those are current international students who have been in your position and can help you settle in. And there's chaplaincy and faith support and professional and confidential counselling services as well if you ever need them. And that could be with the National Health Service. So as international students, your visas, you'll pay a surcharge and you'll all have access to the NHS, the National Health Service. You're also assigned a personal tutor. They're a staff member, so an academic staff member who can be your go-to person. And I think Luis mentioned this, there's 24-hour security on our campuses. There's often PhD students living in accommodation who you can go to at any time of day or night. So there's lots in place, and you won't be on your own, and you'll be surrounded by other students in your position. I think one of the main messages really is don't be ashamed to ask for help when you're here. You know, universities and students' unions know what it's like for international students. We know that you've travelled a long way and you may be homesick from time to time, but there's independent advice. So the students' union can have services to help you with housing, financial advice, managing your money. And they're also the hub of hundreds of student societies, which is an amazing network, great way to make friends, get to know the UK and do something away from your course as well. And I think the next slide, Luis, thanks, gives us some examples of these are just some of hundreds of societies that the universities have on offer. So as you can see, there are Latin American societies, Colombian societies, lots of different sports societies, Shakespeare, mountaineering and skydiving for those who like adventure, and there's even Quidditch, as you can see on the top right hand side of that image. But as you saw Luis's photos, I'm sure some of his positive experiences were as a result of joining some of the different societies as well. So what else have universities been doing on campus, on our campuses as well, to support students? If we move on to the next slide, please, Luis, thanks. So gyms have been reopening even during the pandemic and closing depending on government guidance. But in the meantime, we've had our fitness instructors giving classes from their back gardens, so live exercise classes from their homes basically, and lots of different quizzes and online parties and Netflix parties and things. So there is support to help students throughout the pandemic if they are on campus or even if they're studying remotely as well. And there are signs all over campus. Everything's kept clean and hygienic, even in, you know, the sports facilities and everywhere on campus in accommodation. Thanks, Luis. And I think I'm passing over to Jenny next.
Hi everyone. So the important bit, hopefully we've got you really excited about the idea of applying to a UK university. You know, our master's programs are only 1 year. That's a massive advantage that the UK has over many other countries. But how much is it going to cost you and how can you pay for it? So that's what I'm going to be talking to you about in the next couple of slides. So first of all, if we look at the table of costs, this gives you an idea of the range of prices for master's programs we've put up here. PhD fees will be similar, typically maybe £1,000 cheaper, as the majority of students are looking at masters. And you can see for each of our universities kind of the range of prices. So you have non-lab fees or classroom fees for programs like history, English, politics, international relations, where you are not in a science lab, you're not using technical equipment. Lab fees are for those courses that are in a lab and are using technical equipment. So, you know, your biology, chemistry, engineering programs, they are a higher fee. Business and management programs are often charged differently, and MBA and finance related degrees often attract a premium cost. Now, one of the great benefits of using Col Futuro to come to any of our universities is that we do have a discount agreement in place with Col Futuro, which would give you a typical discount of between 10 and 30% reduction in your tuition fees. So that's a massive benefit to start. So if we move on to the next slide, I want to talk about other possible scholarships that you could be applying for at our universities. So we offer the Col Futuro benefit, but our universities all have other master's funding that you could apply for. Now, in some cases, this can be combined with the Col Futuro discount. In other universities, you would need to choose, you know, whichever was the higher level award, the discount or the university scholarship. So often these are international scholarships for international students. Sometimes there might be awards specifically aimed at Latin American students. Often in universities, particular departments, so I know at York, our management school, for example, our chemistry department, have their own awards specifically for students studying particular degree programs. So usually the full details are on web pages. Typical deadlines are shown on that table there, but again, this is another reason to try and submit your application as soon as you can, really, because although the deadline for the course might not be until June, July, August, the scholarship deadlines tend to be earlier than that, maybe April or May time. And so if you want that opportunity for extra funding, get your application into us as soon as you can. Many scholarships you're not able to apply until you have first received the offer from the department that you wish to study with. And then if we look for anyone in the audience interested in PhD funding, on the next slide, we have a similar table showing you PhD opportunities. Across the UK this year, there has been a change in funding policy. In previous years, international students were not eligible for funding from UK research councils. So there were scholarships for PhDs, but they were only open to UK and European Union students. Now up to 30% of the awards for any PhD project can be given to international students. So that's a great new opportunity, I say, that didn't exist previously. So check web pages for projects that get published. Typical deadlines for PhDs are earlier, so lots of them will already have passed back in January, but again, new projects come online all the time. So a few tips on the next slide about trying to secure funding. Louise, could you pass to the next slide? Oh, I've got more money. I'd forgotten about some of these. So I think we'd had some questions in the chat already about one of these, the British Council Women in STEM Master's Scholarships. It's the first time they've been offered this year. We don't know if they will be available for next September. From the title, you can guess this is for female students for master's programs in certain areas of science, engineering, mathematics, and technology. So there are a number of participating universities, including York and my colleague Sandra at Cranfield, and select master's programs available. This is a full scholarship. It covers your flights, visas, health insurance, monthly stipend, and 100% of the tuition fees. So if you were applying for this, Col Futuro could be your plan B, but this scholarship would cover, say, all costs. You've probably heard about EasyTex and Consciencias already, so that's local funding in Colombia. So check your eligibility for those. And back to master's funding, the Chevening scholarships from the UK government, again, very complete scholarship, covers all costs, has closed already for students wanting to start in the UK September 2021. But if you're looking for September 2022, take a note of that early deadline. It does open and close super early each year, so kind of 12 months before you would start your studies in the UK, you already need to be applying for that one. And say just a few tips on the final slide. That some opportunities, if you check today, some opportunities might not be visible yet. So I know that our management scholarships, they're not on our web pages yet, but they will appear in the next month or so. So check back regularly. PhD projects get published and funded all the time. Keep checking web pages. Maximize your chances of success by applying to all scholarships that you are eligible for. So again, make sure you're meeting those eligibility criteria, make sure your application is in the system in time. If your scholarship requires you to have an unconditional offer, make sure you're revising your English and you're booking a date to take your English test. And really understand what your particular sponsor are looking for. So different sponsors might have a different focus, different priorities, and you need to understand what their objectives are and what selection criteria they are using so that you meet that criteria when you write your scholarship application. You give them the right kinds of information and you answer their questions in the way that they're expecting to give yourself the best possibility of being selected for those fundings. And I think that's me. And yeah, so moving on to Sandra then. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you, Jenny, and hello, everyone. My colleagues have done an amazing job telling you why the UK is an amazing place to study and why it should be on the top of your choices. But if you need more reasons, I can give you a couple more. Louise, please. So the UK has been welcoming international students for centuries, and we have universities, so we've been in the higher education business for over 500 years. So that means we are one top world destination for international students. You will find UK graduates virtually across every country in different organizations, from governments to leading companies and industries, inclusive in Colombia. And our graduates are highly sought after by these companies and organizations because they recognize the high quality of our teaching. So just as an example, so UK graduates, so 96% of our graduates are in employment or further study within 6 months of graduating. So that's an amazing achievement. And of course, it's in the university's best interests to see our graduates succeed, because that reflects also on us. And because of that, we provide you a series of services that you can benefit from when you study with us. So that means we provide you support in creating your CV, tailoring your CV to different companies and different jobs, how to prepare for interviews. We help you with career decision and development tools. We provide access to employment data banks. We promote employment fairs. We introduce you to our industry partners, and we generally give you all these options to make sure you succeed. So it's up to you to participate. The options are there, the tools are there, and the support is available. Even at this time, it's done virtually, but you can participate during our workshop, webinars and video tutorials. And as I said, our careers and recruitment fairs have moved to virtual environments, but they're as effective as they've always been. So, and this is a service that you can benefit while you study with us and after you graduate. So you can always come back to our career service and get help and support with your career advancement. And I think that is all I have to say. Thank you, Louise. Oh, and it's me again. I always forget. Thank you, Louise. So it's my great pleasure to introduce you the University of Cranfield. Next slide, Louise, please. We are exclusively postgraduate university, and we specialize in technology and management. That means we just offer MS, master's and PhD degrees. We are very specialized, so very niche university, and these are 8 areas of expertise. So aerospace, anything to do with air transport management, astrophysics. Just to give you an idea, we have our own airport on campus, and we have 2 aircrafts. So our students get to do what we call a flying classroom, which I'm quite curious to try when I get the chance. We have the Defense and Security School, and one of the programs is quite interesting and has been raising a lot of interest is our forensic investigation. So if you're a fan of CSI, TV shows, and you would like to work in that area, we're the place for you. Energy and power. So this is a very popular theme at the moment with all the energy transition, renewable energy, climate change, and of course, the UK will be hosting the COP26. So a very in vogue theme as well. We do programs in the environment and sustainability and agri-food. So just to give an idea, we have our own greenhouses where our students can do their research and grow their own crops. We have a manufacturing school, and we are leading in the welding engineering, for example. We do robotics, and we're improving manufacturing processes to turn industries more productive, more efficient. We also offer a School of Management, and our supply chain degree is 2nd in UK and top 15 in the world. So we receive a lot of applications for that. Transport systems, anyone who's a fan of Formula One has probably heard of the Halo device. And that is a system that got tested at Cranfield. So we work with Formula One companies, and we have a crash test center where we try and come up with systems to protect the Formula One pilots, to protect them when they have crashes like Grosjean had a couple of months ago. And finally, but not least, we're world leaders in water-related themes, and we have our own water treatment station on campus. We are ranked in the top world 50 QS rankings for aerospace engineering and manufacturing, and we're part of the Oxford, Cambridge, ARC Universities group. So that means our students get to work with the universities that are in this group, so from Oxford and Cambridge, but others as well. And there's a lot of networking and joint projects that we do together. We're located in the north of London, in the Cambridge, Milton Keynes, Oxford ARC. The government has designated this area for investment, and it's being dubbed the next Silicon Valley, or the Silicon Valley of UK. So what does that mean for our students? It means companies are based there, We do a lot of commercial research with our industry partners, and this means when you go and do your group projects or your individual projects that are part of your program, you get to do them in these companies. So I think that's all from me. It's a pleasure to be here. Please get in touch if you have any queries. Thank you.
Next one is Joe, because I'm aware of the time. Joe, can I ask you to be quite brief, and the rest of us needs to be quite brief. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay, if we can move to the next slide then, Louise. Yeah, so I'm from the University of Glasgow, and probably one of the main things to point out with Glasgow is we're in the UK, but we're actually in Scotland as well. So Scotland is a country which is part of the UK. So obviously up in the north, we're covered in snow at the moment, quite a thick layer of snow, which is lying with us here in Glasgow, but it looks very beautiful. The picture you're looking at now is of our campus, and these are the cloisters which are right in the middle of our campus. So the University of Glasgow, you can see from the picture behind me as well, has a long history. It was established in 1451. This campus wasn't built in 1451, it was built in the 18th century, a little bit later, but we have a very long history. We are part of the Russell Group. Russell Group is a little bit like the equivalent of the Ivy League in the USA. So a few of the universities here today are part of this group. It means that we focus in particular on research, and that research should come into your master's program and also into your PhD, obviously, if you're choosing to do a PhD with us. In terms of other rankings, we are generally in the top 100 universities in the world. So we're at top 100 in the Times Higher Education at the moment, and we are 77th in the QS World Rankings as well. So we tend to hover around the top 100, and we haven't gone outside of it for a little while yet, so hopefully we'll stay there for a while. We're quite a large university in a relatively large city. Glasgow is a city of about 1 million people. We have around 29,000 students at the University of Glasgow from over 140 countries, and we offer most programs. So we're quite a comprehensive university. We don't offer things like architecture and chemical engineering, but we offer pretty much everything else. So that's a really quick whistle-stop tour. If you have any questions about Glasgow, please do put them in the chat. Thank you.
Hi everyone, gracias Luis. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Mi nombre es Emma, trabajo en la Universidad de Nottingham. I'll continue in English, but please feel free to write to me after today and ask me any more questions. This is a really quick whistle-stop tour of the University of Nottingham. So for those who aren't familiar with the UK yet, Nottingham is a city right in the middle of the UK, just less than 2 hours from London. It's a really friendly, vibrant, historic city. It has a castle, and the university itself is about 15 minutes from the city centre. So it's quite compact, and it has a tram system. As you can see in the image, the university itself is a QS World Top 100 university and one of the Russell Group, as Joe has just mentioned. So Russell Group universities invest millions of pounds in research, and our Nottingham's research ranking speaks for itself. We're 8th in the UK. So each university is ranked in different areas. It's definitely worth exploring the priority areas of each university. We all offer different types of programs, as Sandra was mentioning as well. But in terms of our employability, as Sandra was talking about previously, Nottingham graduates are targeted. So we invite partners in industry. We have extensive links with local and global employers. So you will have the opportunity when you're here to make those links. It's a great platform for doing that. And we have campuses in China and Malaysia. Some of you may not have known this, but that's an additional opportunity for our students if you want to study for a semester over there, or your full degrees or masters as well. In a normal year, as you can see across our campuses, we have around 47,000 students. There's normally around 33,000 in our campus in the UK. The image you can see is our University Park campus. It's gorgeous, it's really green. 17. Students can live there, and it has won awards, a sustainability award for the last 17 years. And last but not least, we have a really good reputation in sport. So for students who are competitive athletes, or you just want to try something, we have just won Sports University of the Year. We're really proud of that. We have amazing sports facilities on our campuses, so you know the opportunities are here. In terms of subject areas, I'll be really quick. We have 5 faculties: engineering, medicine and health sciences, science, social science and art. So we have a wide range of programmes in all those areas, and please feel free to write to me to hear more about the different areas and rankings in those as well. I'm here to help. Thank you. Thanks, Louise.
Lorna?
Oh,
Rachel.
Nice.
Hello, Rachel. Sorry.
Hi. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be here with you for this afternoon. So it's just a very quick introduction to Warwick. We're based in the city of Coventry, which again is similar to, as Emma mentioned, in the Midlands in the UK. And we are a full campus university, so everything that you need and have for your lectures and your extracurricular activities is all available in one place. So our campus is quite large and still growing, so we have lots of development opportunities on campus at the moment, with a new arts building and a brand new sports centre as well. Just some of the introductory pieces for numbers that you can see on the slide in front of you. So we're third most targeted UK university by UK graduate recruiters. So for once you have graduated, from Warwick, then we can offer what employers look for. 9 of our subject areas in the UK are in the top 5 according to the Times, so lots of depth in some of the subject areas that we teach. Lots of volunteering and employment opportunities on campus. So if you are looking for part-time work, then there are lots of opportunities available within the university itself that we can offer. And then just the final one, there's lots of different opportunities for you. As sports and societies are something that you are interested in, then we have lots and lots on campus. Students start them themselves, and they vary quite widely. So we have political societies, we have food societies and language societies, and lots of different sports clubs as well, and they vary from what you would expect in the UK. So as Louise said, football, there is also hockey and rugby for anybody who likes rugby union, but then there are also some new ones. So we have ultimate frisbee and some quite unique ones that you may be interested in trying that you've never heard of before. They're open to all, and so yeah, that's just some of the flavour of what Warwick can offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And this is me. Well, if you have heard about Sussex, usually it's because of development. We have been ranked for 4 years running the #1 university in the world for development studies. To put things in perspective, Harvard is #2. What makes us such a good university in development, being a small university, is that every single department that teaches development is also a think tank. So they work with industry, with NGOs, and with government. For example, in 2018, the University of Sussex and the government of Colombia created the Green Book of Development, El Libro Verde de Desarrollo Sustentable, and that was the university. Also, the current president of Costa Rica is an alumni of the student development with us, Carlos Alvarado Quesada. We are third in the world for innovation, science, and technology, top 100 from business and economics. Also, something which is unique of Sussex is the city where we're located. See, Brighton is a very famous city and is known as the hippie city of the UK. To the point, and one of the nicknames is the Independent Republic of Brighton, because those hippies down there are not English. I have been to several, I live 4 different cities, and Brighton is by far my favorite city in the UK. It's an amazing city. So you're not only coming to a university, which, if you want to change the world, is a university to come to, but you are coming to a fantastic city. And finally,
ever so quickly, so that's our location at York. The UK is a small island, nowhere is very far away, 2 hours direct train from London, which is obviously the city everybody has heard of, but we're cheaper in the north of England, cheaper place to live, and the perfect size of city, so 200,000 inhabitants, so we are a city, we're not a town. So not too big, not too small, the right amount going on. And I want to give you quickly just an overview of some of the programs that might be particularly of interest. So obviously you can apply to any of the programs available at York, but I wanted to pull out things that we're really kind of strong at, known for, and some examples of programs that have previously been sponsored by Col Futuro in recent years as well. So peace and conflict studies, so that's recently been named, it used to be called the post-war recovery studies degree. We have lots of expertise in this area. We have a couple of members of our staff who are working on projects in Colombia with Universidad de los Andes, for example, and you have an opportunity as part of that program to go to Cape Town in South Africa and to undertake a second placement in a country of your choice. So we've had students go to Kosovo, Northern Ireland, so that's a really exciting program that's obviously really relevant for the Colombian context and the peace process. Social policy, if you're thinking about politics, do check our social policy department as well. We are ranked 10th in the world for social policy, so very strong area. I say it's a department you won't see at every university, but there's a really interesting range of courses offered there. For anyone interested in La Economía Naranja, which I know there has been lots of investment in Colombia, we have a great series of programs around film and TV production. So you can specialize in any of those different pathways there: sound design, visual effects, cinematography, directing, producing. The equipment, the facilities at that department are incredible. So we've had the BBC do post-production work on our campus in our production suites. So, you know, really good equipment. Our staff are really well connected with industry. So don't think that you have to be in London to do film and TV work. You absolutely don't. There's a lot going on in the north of England as well. Economics, always really popular. We have a big economics department, so lots of options. The things that we're particularly strong in are econometrics and a world famous centre for health economics. Students studying health economics might have a bachelor's degree in economics, or you might have a bachelor's degree in medicine, dentistry, nursing, pharmacy, and want to specialise in health economics. So we have a pre-sessional economics course for that one if you haven't really studied economics before. Environment, again, lots of interest and lots of collaborative projects with Colombia around environment, and we are host to the Stockholm Environmental Institute on our campus. We are second in the UK in terms of the impact of our research in environmental issues. So we are researching things, we're making discoveries that are impacting the real world. They're not just being published as a scientific paper. So a very exciting department to study in, and we offer a program around environmental economics, which is quite unusual: environmental economics, environmental management. So again, we have 5 or 6 different masters, but that one is pretty unusual. You won't find that degree in many other places in Europe or possibly even the world. And finally, green chemistry. Again, we were the first accredited green chemistry program in the UK, first course in green chemistry in the whole of Europe, and about 20 years of expertise in this area. So quite niche, quite specialist, but we're really, really good at that. And so you can see underneath, you know, there's all kinds of areas there. We're top 50 in the world for arts and humanities. So you can see we've had students join us for history of art, literature courses. We're top 100 in the world for social sciences. So you can see things like public administration, law, and a very quick table to show you how the 25% discount that we give Col Futuro students, how that would affect your tuition fees at York, and you can combine with our own scholarships. So that was very, very fast, and you'll get all of our email addresses in a moment. So really welcome any questions after today, as I'm sure we all would. We'd love to hear from you. So yeah, over to questions now, I guess. We have final 10 minutes.
Hi, thank you all so much for doing the presentation. We actually do not have time for questions, but thank you so much for answering them on the chat. I know everyone was very connected there. So if you have any further questions, you can contact them through the emails you can find right now on the slide. And I just wanted to thank you all for being here today.
No, thank you for having us. We still have to get the timing right, but we're getting there. So thank you so much for having us. And good luck to any of you. From a latino a otro, estudiar en el Reino Unido es excelente y por favor, cualquier pregunta, estamos a la orden. Casi todos aquí hablamos español, así que por favor.
Claro que sí. Y muchas gracias a todas las personas que estuvieron conectadas. Have a very nice day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Bye.
Gracias. Feliz día.
Igualmente.